Okay, well, I'm at Lee's Ferry in Arizona, and I'm about to kayak down through Glen Canyon, from Glen Canyon Dam back here to Lee's Ferry. So there's a haulback service taking me from here up to the dam, 15 miles up, and then I'm going to camp overnight in the canyon on the banks of the Colorado River. Hopefully I won't get eaten by bugs, because I kind of got eaten last night. Anyway, so yeah, really looking forward to this, and I shall check in with you later. This is just a quick image of where I started, which is at Lee's Ferry, and this is the launch ramp. And what we're seeing in this picture is a couple of whitewater rafting boats that go from Lee's Ferry downstream, as opposed to me going up to the dam. They're going downstream on the Colorado River down into Grand Canyon, and it looks like a pretty fun trip for those guys as well. Okay, I'm just south of Glen Canyon Dam. I'm going to paddle up there. It's kind of that way, but they drop us off on this little beach. It's going to be awesome. The ride up with the backhaul service was fantastic. It took about an hour or so to get up here, and it's going to be a really good kayak back down. So it's about noon, and I got the kayak all, where is it? That compartment is full of food and stuff. I got my life jacket, I got my tent and everything back in here. So hopefully I'm good for a day and a night and a day. It's pretty hot, it's about 100 degrees, but the water temperature is like 50, so it's easy to stay cool. All right, see you guys later. Well, there's Glen Canyon Dam. I just paddled upstream to get here. Not far, but the current is pretty strong. So glad I'm going the direction I'm going, or will be when I do this U-turn in a second. Pretty neat. So the water level in here is natural and normal. It's very, very low on the other side of that dam, and tomorrow or the day after I'll drive up past Lake Powell and take some photographs of how low the water is. It's less than 50% of capacity, but this flow here is as it always would have been. It's as if the dam didn't exist. They're just actually letting all the water coming into Lake Powell run back out in order to keep Lake Mead as full as possible. So that's where the damming is happening. In fact, they're talking about decommissioning and I don't know, deconstructing, I guess, this dam. Although with those power cables up there, it looks like it might have been a hydro plant there at some point, but there's definitely a hydro at Hoover Dam. That's a big hydro place, and they're filling up Lake Mead instead of Lake Powell, so they're not holding back water upstream, they're letting it flow. So this area here is actually quite special in the sense that this canyon is not affected, I don't think, too much by the dam, so the water level is always about the same. You know, so it's presumably how it has been for many, many, many years. All right, there we are, Glen Canyon Dam. I'm beginning my trip downriver back to Lee's Ferry in a couple of days. Amazing. I'm the only one out here. Occasionally a haulback boat or a fishing boat would go the other way, but I'm the last kayaker to come down. Nobody's behind me, and it's peaceful, and I'm really enjoying that. Look how verdant this is here. It's the greenest stuff I've seen on the trip since California vineyards. can see the currents moving pretty swiftly. I'm just hanging on the outside of it right now. I paddled against it just for fun. And I reckon it must be going about 3 miles an hour because I was going about 1 mile an hour the other way, and I can maxed out I go about 4 miles an hour on this red and yellow kayak. So 2.5 to 3 miles an hour, I would say. I'd be really curious to find out what's making this red rock so black. It's a beautiful spot right here. You see that beach? Very nice indeed. Just to give you some idea how hot it is, it's 106 degrees, and the ground was so hot even through the tent that I'm sitting on this bedroll because it's just too darn hot. Even over the sand, the heat's coming through the ground. And to get the stuff out of my kayak, there's 2 black lids covers for the compartments there. I had to wear these gloves because the rubber was too hot to touch, and the metal on the tent poles was like searing, blistering. So there's a little bit of a breeze going through. I just opened the back window there, and now there's a bit of a breeze coming through. So I'm going to sit in the shade, have some ice cold water out of Esme's thermos. Thank you, my love. And I guess my thermos that Esme gave me, that's more accurate. Thank you, my love. Yeah, so it's 2:30-ish, and it's going to be hot until 5. And I picked this little spot because on the other side of the river, like I'm on the east side, there's a very tall bluff. Well, the canyon all the way through is tall, but it's very tall. I'm hoping that the sun will go behind that soonest. So there were no campsites over the next 5 miles or so on the west side, and you got to camp where they're designated. So yeah, beautiful, beautiful spot. And 2 boats went by, but I'm basically here alone. It's really wonderful. All right, see you later. So I don't know if you can see that, but the tent pole is broken. I was just sitting here chilling out in the shade, and a gust of wind came through. Not even that strong a gust of wind, but the whole tent kind of went pear-shaped, and the top pole snapped. There are actually 2. They go from one corner to the other diagonal corner, and then vice versa. And these poles are just shitty. Eureka makes a pretty nice tent, but we've had problems with these poles in the past, like the small ones that hold the little canopy up at the entrance. Those 2 have both snapped, and now a major one has snapped, and it's ripped through the top rain shield, or whatever you call that top part. Anyway, I have no idea how long this thing's going to stand up now. There's no wind at all again. Okay, so it's exactly 5 o'clock, and I've been going for about 6 hours. I've been in the canyon for about 6 hours. It's absolutely, let me go this way first. It's absolutely still. See down there? Water looks like a mill pond, and it's lovely. And it's in the shade because my little plan worked. That big mountain cast some shadow on my campsite. And you see, there you go, you see the kayak there. But have a look at this. That's my tent. Doesn't look very good, but it's better than it looks. So I was able to break out the piece that had broken when the wind gust hit it and one of the poles broke. I was able to remove the little broken piece out of the socket in one of these. So, yep. And, you know, I got a 2-inch shorter pole on one side, but at least it worked. But I had the good sense to dismantle it like that in case another gust of wind blew me house down. So this little piggy took himself off kayaking while it was still sunny here. It was just so hot. I cooled off in the water a little bit and I went over the other side because that was obviously shadier earlier than this side. So I went kayaking and had a nice time, and knew that my tent wasn't going to blow away or at least get damaged. So that's I'm going to put that tent back up here in a minute. But here you go. That's it's my home for the night. It's quite spectacular. I'm missing you guys. I'll send you these videos when I get Wi-Fi again. All right, love you guys. Oh, one more thing that's interesting. It's been so hot that the iPhone's been overheating and shutting down. Pretty amazing. It's fun. It's beautiful now. It's in the shade. It's fine. You know, with those sunny bluffs over there. Just occasionally a warm breeze comes up, and it's like a furnace still for the areas that still got sunshine. But it's going to be a nice evening. It's only going down into like 75 or so. So I think decent sleeping weather. And yeah, that's it. All right, over and out for now. So what I don't tell you in the brochure is it can be breezy here. Which is actually really refreshing because it took until 10 o'clock for the temperature to drop down into maybe 75, 80 degrees. It had been probably 90 up until then. And you can see it's still breezy now, which is lovely. But I never bothered putting my tent back up again. So this is what my bed looked like. Oh, excuse me. Slept well. This pad was great. No bugs. I mean, a couple of ants. That's nothing major. No mosquitoes at all. Lots of bats. They just went away. But it kind of freaked me out a little bit. So I covered myself with a sleeping bag, even though it was warm. I don't know. After Esther getting bitten by a bat in Florida and having to have those rabies shots, maybe a bit apprehensive. But because they were so low. I mean, you see these little shrubs here? They were coming in looking for bugs right above my head. And a lot of them. Either a few that were very active just in this area or a lot covering a broader area. Probably a lot. Maybe that's why there aren't so many bugs around. Anyway, it was a comfortable night. And it's going to be a good day. Morning. Good morning, good morning, as my dad used to say. All right, later. Sunrise at Ferry Swale.
6 o'clock, so actually the sun has been up for a while.
Hello again. So I've been walking around here barefoot, and by and large it's been fine. Although I did find some broken glass and some nitwit smashed at some point, but generally it's clean and it's not trashy and it's good. And actually that glass was broken glass I found like up over there someplace. But anyway, see this little sucker? Little devil grass spur, and I have picked up half a dozen of those on my feet, which is always a bit painful. But walking around generally barefoot's okay. That's my spot back here. There we are. That's where the tent was. I packed everything up. I'm going to go from mile 11, which is where Ferry Swale is, to mile 10, just 1 mile down the river, and that's where the petroglyphs are. And right after that is Horseshoe Bend, and then after that is Waterhole Canyon, where there's a slot canyon that you can hike about 3/4 of a mile back in, and I want to do that before the day gets too hot. It's going to be 101 today. Certainly nice down from 106, but thought I'd get the hike in. Because once you get away from the water's only like 52 degrees. And when you're on the water, it's cool, at least it's manageable. But as soon as you get out of the kayak and go even a few steps on the beach, man, you feel the radiation heat coming out of the earth. So I want to get that hike in a little sooner. But something else that I found really curious is, look, here is where the water was last night. And oop, the tide's gone out, which is curious because obviously we're not on the ocean. They're regulating the water flow out of the dam, obviously, and it looks like they're holding some back. But I'd read the other day online that they were letting the natural river flow, so presumably whatever flows into Lake Powell, flow out of the dam at Glen Canyon in order to prioritize Lake Powell. But it looks to me like they turn the sluices off because the water level is down. Oh, I don't know. Difficult to tell how many feet down it is, but it's obviously about 10 or 12 feet down from the river bank to where it is today. So for whatever that's worth, I thought put that on tape. All right, see you at the petroglyphs. This is spectacular. And very, very quiet. Beautiful morning, a little overcast, which is actually quite welcome. And I am at this incredible petroglyph wall in Glen Canyon. And there you see the first petroglyph. These date back between 3,000 and 6,000 years ago. The descending sheep. And then there's some more sheep down here. I don't know if you see that. Pretty cool. Something could be as old as up to 6,000 years ago, but certainly 3,000 to 6,000 years. That's a pretty broad range. I guess there's not much to carbon date here, they're just etchings. Some fool in 2010 carved his name right here. You can't see it now. I don't know how they got rid of it. He carved his name, Trent. Of course, they caught him. And he thought it would be cool. That's why he said he did it. Anyway, they fined him $10,000. Now if some nitwit does it, it's $20,000 in a year in prison. And even that doesn't seem harsh enough. Because it's pointless. Anyway. I'm here alone. In the solitude. I think that's a pretty cool shape. I'd like to know what that signifies. Looking straight ahead above these sheep, descending. Ooh, it keeps going up, 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 up. Oh, just get there. Up, there it is. We did see some, can't speak too early in the morning. We did see some longhorn sheep that presumably these represent on the way in. On the ride up on the backhaul service, there were 4 or 5, and the driver pointed them out. They were down by the water, and he said he thought there was a pass he was familiar with, how they got down here, but these damn sheep like this can climb rocks like nobody's business, like goats. And he said they like to be down in here because their predators can't come down here. They don't have the climbing skills that the sheep have. Also saw some wild horses in the canyon near the Lee's Ferry, which I hope to see again. Look at that, pretty neat. I don't know if these things creep you out as much as they do me, but when you see a lot of ants together like that, and they're all over there going across the path, all over the place, you know they can just eat you alive. And that's what was eating me the other night. I came out of the airstream to sit under the full moon, or almost full moon, and I obviously sat in an area where there were a bunch of ants. I think they might have been red ants though, and that's what was nibbling on me. I had 4 or 5 bites on my feet in no time, so I hightailed it back into the airstream. And at the time I thought they might have been mosquitoes or something, but pretty sure they're these little buggers. So this is the famous Horseshoe Bend, just south of the petroglyph mile marker 10. And there you see we're approaching the bend, and up there are people. At the way top. Okay, so here's the Horseshoe Bend. And straight up there is the people lookout. There's a few people up there looking down at me. I better not fall in. See how amazing Horseshoe Bend looks like from the top, looking down onto the Colorado River. I'm in my kayak all the way to the right, as far upstream as you can see in that image. But what an amazing view from the top of the bluff. All right, this is Horseshoe Canyon from the south. I just kind of cruised through it, drifted and a little bit of paddling. I'll have my breakfast. It's pretty darn spectacular. So this is kind of rotating the kayak around. What it looks like in the direction we're going to go in. So coming just after Horseshoe Bend, it was like a lake, like a mill pond, really flat. And then the wind got up, gusting maybe 20 miles an hour, because it was really blew my hat back. And yeah, it was. It lasted maybe 10 minutes, and at one point it felt like it was coming directly down the side of the canyon wall, which is kind of odd, like a downdraft. But anyway, it can get pretty breezy, and the advice that I saw before was if you're struggling with it, just go to the beach and it'll blow itself out. And that's precisely what it did. I mean, I paddled through it because it was nice and invigorating. But look at it, 5 minutes ago it was blowing 20 miles an hour through here, and now it's gone away. So and then in the background behind me is 6 Mile Point, where a lot of people recommend camping, and it looks lovely. This is the Waterhole Canyon pathway. Ooh. I'd say that's blowing 30 knots, at least gusting 30 knots. Okay, this is the end of the trail right there because of that, basically. Waterhole Canyon is a box canyon. I think that's what you call it. And unless you're Alex Honnold, I want to scale sheer face like that, you can't keep going. And this is what the view looks like from where I've just come. Really sort of narrow slot canyon. Ooh, can you see that? Yeah. Looks overexposed. Well, there you have it. Nice side trail, actually. Nice to get a bit of a hike in. It took me a little less than half an hour to get up here, with a few stops just to take some photos and stuff, but really a bit of an incline, nothing strenuous. Nice little hike, actually. All right. There's the wind. Whew. It was just gusting about 30 miles an hour. Blew my hat back again. And in fact, there's a fair amount of fetch here from the corner up there back down there is enough of a fetch for the wind to actually kick up some waves. There's about a 18-inch, very short, steep little waves and some white caps. It's pretty much laid back down again now, but it was a little sporty there for a while. You can see the reeds blowing a little bit. So yeah, I mean the waves coming over the bow a little bit. I don't have the skirt on this thing today because that would be hot and unnecessary, but I can imagine in the right conditions here it could get pretty sporty. It's warm, it's like maybe 85, 90, so the wind's kind of welcome. I don't know if you heard any of that audio because the wind's blowing on the microphone. Needless to say, it's pretty windy out here right now. But these things tend to blow through pretty quickly. One thing I would say is if you come out here and it's sunny, you need a baseball cap or something that can stay on top of your head to keep the top of your head from getting burnt. My straw hat there, it's great in the sun where there's no wind, but I got a baseball cap in the bow over there, that bow storage locker, and I might break that out when we stop at Watering Hole or Waterhole Canyon, whatever it's called. Whew. All good fun. These horses are actually wild and live on the banks of the Colorado River here in Glen Canyon. Pretty amazing. All right, you can see over there Lee's Ferry. I almost forgot the name of it. Lee's Ferry, mile 0. So that's the end of my journey. It's where it began yesterday, and it's over. Spectacular ride down. Really, really, really beautiful. And I just saw the 3 wild expeditions, backhaul boats going up towards Glen Canyon Dam. That's the first expedition boat or tourist boat I've seen today, and it's just about noon. So I've had the canyon pretty much to myself, except a couple of fishermen and that's been lovely. I don't know why people aren't out today. Maybe because it was windier this morning, I don't know. Anyway, obviously well worth doing. Very happy I did it. But there's a reason why you only see idyllic footage on YouTube, because it's difficult to take video when it's blowing or gusting 20-30 miles an hour. But it can happen here, obviously, so I think best to be prepared. Anyway, it's idyllic again now, and for the few times it was a bit sporty and it made me work for it, it's been an easy trip and a delightful trip, so I would highly recommend it to anybody. Alrighty, home sweet home. Still here. Kayak's still here. It's my racing kayak. And the other one goes up on there. Well, I think you can tell I really enjoyed this trip. It was just a spectacular scenery, and it was wonderful, even though it was 106 degrees. It's just wonderful. It's a spectacular area of the country, and I really enjoyed it. All right. Thank you for watching.